In Focus 4, we're going to set up our displays so that we can utilize the newly created global object that we created in the last section. So I'm going to go back to Factory Talk and show you to make your user interface look a little bit better. You can add icons or images to your buttons. So use this tool to add an image, and then find the home button or the main button, and you can add that image into your project. Scale it, size it to what you want, and put it with the button, and change the properties so that the back is transparent. And that will make a nice looking graphical user interface. So now to use our new global object in our new displays, the first thing we need to do is group our global object so that we can copy and paste it much easier. So for starters, I'm going to use the control button to select the go-to display and the image or the icon that I made and group them together with the group button. Do that for all the buttons. Next, we're going to group all of our new grouped buttons together. And lastly, we're going to group that to our background that we have behind those buttons. And then we'll do the same thing to our top. We'll select our power button and our text. We'll group those together, and then we will group that to the background behind it. And now I'm just going to expand that so you can see a little bit better our 1600 by 900 size range. And then lastly, we got our full group there, our midsection. So we'll select the full group, the middle section, and the bottom group with the control button again, grouping all of those together. And we can save that grouping. So now our main, we can go to our main panels, we can right click, copy that panel, the main panel, that whole global object. So we just selected everything we grouped, and now we can go to our main panel in the project, and I'm going to delete that shutdown button because we already created one, and we can paste our object into our main panel of the project. So now our main panel has this nice interface with buttons to navigate to and from the panel with the global object. So we got to do the same thing. We need to create panels for each of the different objects. One thing we don't have is we don't have our control panel, and we don't have our PID control. So next we'll create those. So we're going to make a new panel. We need to go back here again and copy that panel before we can paste it in our new panel, which is showing up down here. So we can do a paste, and we can save that, and we will call that one control. And that's for this button. Then we will make another new panel. We'll go back to our main panel, copy that again, go to our new panel, paste it, save that one, and call that one PID control. And lastly, we need to make our plot data displays. So we'll copy that global object again, go to our new panel that we just added, hit paste, save it. We'll call that one plot data. So now we have our displays that we'll use to navigate through these buttons. So the next step is to link these main panel buttons to the actual displays. So we need to go back to our main panel, and I'm going to close all of these so we don't get confused. So we're going to go back to the main panels, and we are going to set up. So now to get into each button, we have to toggle into all of the grouping that we went through. So now to get into this, we first select the whole thing, and then we get into this group. And then once we get into that group, we can get into our subgroup of all the buttons. Double click that again, we can get into each button. And once we get into each button, we can set up the display. So now we see our main display. So we want that go to display button to go to our main display. Anytime they click this button, it will go to our main panel here. So we hit apply, hit OK. That one is set up. We got to do the same thing. Keep double clicking to get into the subgroups till the button comes up. This display, we want that to be control. Hit OK, apply, OK. Double click into it again. This one is PID control. Hit OK, apply, OK. And lastly, our plot data button. So all of the go-to displays are now set up to go to the respective displays in our display category. So now we can just save that main panel and close it. So we have our buttons now linked to that global panel, that global main panel, and that will make it easier when we are navigating between screens when the project is running. Lastly, we need to make the alarm page, which shows up like this by default. We have alarms, diagnostics, and information. We want to change these so that they match our new runtime. So let's take our main panels again, copy them. We'll go into the alarm again, and we will paste in there. Now notice it pasted over the top of our alarm window. We can just right click on it, arrange it, and send it to the back. And now we can pull these items down by holding the control key when we select each one. We'll drag those down, and then our alarm window will now also have navigation away from the window, because the global buttons that we have down here will still be active in our alarm window. And then we can change the we have to change the sizing of that button, so you can drag that background sizing to match our full resolution. And we can also check the display settings by right clicking on that background and bringing up the display settings. And we want, in this case, we want to display on full screen, so we need to set this to our 1600 by 900. And we're going to position 0, 0, meaning start the display in the upper left-hand corner and then fill the display in that direction. So we'll set that, and then we can also change these properties if we wish. It's an alarm, so I guess I'm going to leave that red, but these buttons, we can switch them to our gray color to make them a little bit less visible. And that will be it for the alarm button. So now we can save that and close it. So when an alarm comes up on the screen, the alarm's going to show in this window here, and we'll be able to clear those alarms and close it. And we can also navigate away from the alarm by clicking our Go To Display buttons that would be active down below. We need to do that same process for diagnostics and information. So we'll go to our main panel again, copy it, go to diagnostics, paste it, send it to the back with the arrange feature. Use the control key to move this stuff down to wherever we want it. Then this will be the diagnostics page. Again, we can either drag that or set the size with display settings. So we want 1600 by 900. And we want to start at 0, 0. And we'll just change the colors. We'll make that one the darker. Again, we'll change the color of each of those buttons to make it visually appealing to the user. And there we have our diagnostics display. We can save that and close it. And lastly, our information panel. So we'll go back to our main panel, copy it, go to information, make this bigger so we can see it all, and we'll paste. We'll send our global object to the back. We'll bring our controls. Actually, I'm going to move these, and then we can make our information box a little bigger. Change the color on that again to be a little darker, and then change our two buttons to match our project. And there we have it. Our information display is now edited. Don't forget, we still have to set the display settings to be 1600 by 900, and we want to start at 0, 0. Hit apply, OK, and we can save that and close. So now each of our controls has that global object in the background, and then our controls that are associated with that central panel to make a nice graphical interface for the user or the operator of the HMI.